Okay. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, I know that you filled out the informed consent that I sent to you, and you had written a little bit about some things that are going on for you. But since this is our first session, I thought maybe we could start with just talking a little bit about what's going on for you and what brings you to therapy today.
Okay. So I guess I kind of have a lot going on. I have a history of an eating disorder, and I have been going through a lot lately with things that I haven't really been able to control, I guess. Like my grandmother passed away, and I'm in school, and I have an internship coming up, and I broke up with my boyfriend. So it's been a lot of kind of negative things that I know from my past could potentially trigger my eating disorder habits, because they're all things that I don't have control over.
Okay.
So like this therapy isn't my first rodeo. So
okay.
So that's kind of what's going on.
All right. So it sounds like you have a lot of big things going on. Some important things that you want to work out. So with if it's okay if we talk about your past eating disorder, you mentioned out of control a few times that I noticed. What does out of control look like for you? Or feel like for you?
That's kind of a hard thing to explain. I guess I just get kind of panicky a little bit, and my routine, my daily routine gets kind of disturbed, and I'm not focused like I should be.
What do you mean by you should be?
I mean just normal functioning, I guess. Okay. I get these moments where all I can really think about is, these things that I have no control over, and it's kind of consuming. And I'd much rather be able to just focus my time on things that I can control. So I guess, in that sense, I'm kind of lacking in, coping strategies for dealing with that kind of thing.
Well, that is something we can absolutely work on in therapy, is building you a toolbox of coping strategies. So when you are possibly feeling out of control or a lack of control of things going on in your life, some coping skills that you can do on your own that we can even practice here in therapy, so that when life feels like that, you can use those to help yourself out of feeling that way.
Yeah, that would be good. And I think, at the same time, I think I just need somebody to talk to somebody that's not a friend, because my friends will be like, "Oh, let's just go out for a drink," and that. I know that that's not really healthy. So,
tell me about your support system. Tell me a little bit about who you have in your life for support.
Okay. So I'm really close with my parents.
Okay.
And I have a handful of really close friends, and then I have some other kind of acquaintances that I would never go to with personal things. But I definitely have a solid foundation of people that I can go to. But I think, everybody has their own struggles that they're going through, so I always feel like I'm burdening people if I go to them with my problems. So, not that they necessarily feel that way, but that's just how I am. I just don't want to bother people with my problems.
Why do you think you would be a burden? to close family, like your parents you said you're close with, or your handful of close friends? Why do you think?
Well, as far as my parents go, I mean, I mentioned that my grandmother passed away. So, you know, it was my mom's mom, and I think that she's having a really hard time with that. So I don't want to like overload her with things to worry about, and I don't necessarily know that she would be a good person to talk to about some of these things. Like, they don't know about like my eating disorder and stuff. So, you know, a lot of things I think would be better addressed with friends. And I'm usually the one that they come to, so I guess it's kind of weird for me to think about me going to them with my issues.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. A lot of times when others are going through things like you mentioned, you feel like adding something on top of that is, you know, weighing them down more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little, if it, so given the things that you just talked to me about,
Mm-hmm.
what would be your ideal solution for the things going on with you at this time?
Mm-hmm. Well,
what would being in control and comfortable with yourself look like for you?
I guess I'd be done with school. I would be happy with what I'm doing with my life. I'd not necessarily have a boyfriend, but I'd be comfortable with either with the boyfriend or alone. I would just feel content. I would feel grounded and content, and not spending my time thinking about. I don't want it to sound like, I don't want it to come off like I'm feeling sorry for myself, because sometimes maybe that's why I don't talk to people about it, because I'm afraid that it's going to be perceived as like a weakness, or that like people are going to like think I'm out looking for sympathy or something, and that's not really it.
Is it important to you how other people feel about you?
It is, yeah. I think I've always been that way. Like, I know I shouldn't be that way, but I want...
Why do you say you shouldn't be that way?
Well, I mean, either people are going to like me or they're not going to like me.
That's very true.
So, I guess I just, and, like, if somebody doesn't like me, like, I want to know why. I want to know what it is about me that they don't like. So, I guess in that sense, it's just, like, my control issue again. So, I don't know.
Now tell me, if you were to find out, if someone didn't like you, and you found out they didn't like you because of your hair color or something, would you change that about yourself?
No.
No.
I feel like I am who I am. But I just don't want people to not like me, because there's a reason for it.
So being liked is important to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned when I asked you what being grounded would look like for you, or you mentioned being grounded. If your ideal solution to this would be, and you mentioned being content. Can you tell me about a time, or the last time you remember feeling truly content with your life and how things are going?
No. I mean, being a little kid, like that, you know, when you didn't have any worries, and
so your childhood was happy.
Yeah. It seems like there's always some sort of bullshit I have to deal with, and I'm just tired of it. Like, I just want peace. I want, like, you know, if there's not something wrong or bad going on, like, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of how it rolls.
Like, it's too good to be true.
Yeah. So
I understand how that feeling could be, you know, create an uneasy feeling. It sounds like, or what I'm gathering, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there's quite a few things that have happened recently or that are currently happening that have caused you to feel a lack of control, and you're concerned that that lack of control could stem into recreating or relapsing, for lack of a better word, to your eating disorder again. And that's worrisome for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think about us trying to tackle some of the things that you're concerned about? Maybe even talking about which things are the most troublesome for you at this time, and working on them one at a time, or I want to say prioritizing them. Not that they're all not important, but I think trying to tackle a multitude of things could be a little overwhelming, and it sounds like you already feel a bit overwhelmed. So, and that way we can start on something that you feel comfortable starting with, and then we can work on some tools to help you cope with that.
Okay.
And you having a toolbox will be a great thing for you to be able to use when you're feeling like life is slipping out of control.
Okay, yeah, that would be great.